Hey everybody, what's going on? Emo Tempest here, joined with the Texas Materia Cup winner, Sergio Bravo. Congratulations, man. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it myself in person.
Thank you.
I'm going to post the deck list here in a second for everyone, just so you can take a look. We had to rush out of there because we're about to catch a flight. We're at the Fridays in the airport.
We're live.
We're live.
At Fridays.
So, the deck hasn't changed again since your local qualifier, right?
No, I did change it since then.
Okay, so...
Yeah, so when I won the local qualifier, I had the meta had just started. We really weren't sure where the unit was going to land. So we had one random unit in the deck, which made no sense. It was terrible. That's clearly not there anymore. What I'm running now is the Cecil package. That was the big change in the deck. So I made some space to fit in one Earth Cecil and two Wind Cecil. And the idea is if you can force them to pay every time they want to try to use a unit tax on you, not attack, sorry, a unit trigger to freeze something or to dull your guys, it's much more unaffordable for them. So that was the idea with Cecil. I ended up having to cut Terra and Une from the deck, so my long game was a little bit worse, but I needed my early game to be better. So that was the big change.
Going through your matchups, what was the toughest thing? I know we talked about Una being a tough one, right?
Yeah.
But everything else, with the changes you made, how does the meta shift for you for playing a warrior, Bartz, Time Magic Bartz, I guess?
I was pretty lucky in terms of matchups. Thank you.
And if we are kind of running a little
We'll edit this
you
out.
can just scan here and just pay it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Will you actually edit that out? Do you have the technology?
I can, but I'm not gonna.
That's fine. This is raw. This is how we like it. Okay.
This is real.
Yeah, this is real. This is real. From Fridays.
For Fridays.
So what were we asking about the matchup? So I mostly dodged Una, to be fair, because I do think that's a very difficult matchup and one that I don't often win. But the changes are enough that it helps it not be a 0% matchup. I played a few mono earth decks, which I thought was an interesting choice also because of water lightning being so popular the last couple of weeks, and then we ended up not seeing any water lightning almost at all in the tournament. A lot of Refia mirrors. I like the Bartz version in the mirror because you can run less backups. So if you can start off fast enough, you can use the Time Magic Bartz to sneak out those backups. You're using Seraph to cut the Bartz from the deck also. So in the mid to late game, your draws are all better because you've filtered through a lot of the deck. And you don't have to run 20 backups. Is it riskier? Yes, but sometimes you get lucky and it's a better payout. So.
And also talk to us about the strategies going into these matchups, right? We know that the Cecil into, for example, the one I'm thinking of mostly is the Cecil into the Wool for the unit matchup. Elaborate on those, for those terrible matchups, with the changes.
Well, yeah, those matchups are terrible. But if we can get a Cecil Wool or a Cecil into something else, let's just start playing the game and presenting things that they might want to move out of the way, things that they want to try to freeze my forwards maybe. Those are things that for me are better. The more distractions I can give my opponent, the better. And a lot of these action abilities are the answers to Una, but because of the way that targeting works in Cecil on the field, every action ability is going to cost them something. So that's huge. It's good against the monster matchups too. Every monster that gets sacrificed to Witch of the Fens also requires a 2 CP tax because of the Cecil. So then they have to start doing weird stuff like wasting their Marlboros and everything to get through the Cecil. That's the strategy basically. And for the Una matchup, the strategy is leave the Wool up, so hopefully you can kill the Una if it doesn't have a pump on board to keep it alive like a Galoof.
For that last match, for everyone who was watching, I wasn't able to listen to the commentary, but not attacking. Elaborate. There was a lot of turns there that I think you just passed, right? You set up.
Yeah, he has a high burst count in that deck. Even though it's the unit deck, he's able to fit a good amount of burst in there. So when I counted it, it was God, I don't even remember anymore, but I think it was close to 20 or something like that. So I think he had more burst than I did. And the bursts were all Tyro, Thordan, and the big one was the Lev 6. So having Lev 6 in the deck, when I have exactly 5 to attack and he has 6 damage to give, it's not worth it to keep pushing for no reason. And the cards I had, in hand. I didn't want to like overdraw and then force myself into using them or go to discard. So it's kind of like what's the saying? Discretion is the better part of valor. Like knowing that I can push 2 to 3 damage, make him next turn answer me, or I win on the next turn. You know, and a lot of times if you're sitting on an Ama, which I think on one of the games I had like finally set up that board, drawn into the Ama, there's no reason to try and push to 5 or 6 that turn. The plan is to kill him next turn.
Right.
And we have lots of removal in the Refia deck. So, you know, once you have like 4 or 5 wolves out, the Ferris is like a machine gun when you play it.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to like worry about him presenting a bunch of forwards. That's what we want.
The big one that I think tripped him up also was that other, I don't even know what set it's from, the 2CB wind Bartz that's not time magic.
Yes.
I think you're one of the only ones I've seen with that in their time.
I've been using that card for a while.
Yeah.
I love that Bartz. So it's Bartz fodder like most of the time. In the mid to late game, you don't need time magic Bartz anymore. Like you want it for your setup, and then later you have other Bartz in the deck that are better. So the 3CP Legend Bartz is also good too. It like can activate 2 of your backups. So it ends up being just like a 1-drop, and then it's another wool that you have as a forward. But that 2CP Wind Bartz is like one of my favorite cards. That one is really, really cool because it changes, it doesn't change, it gains another element, and it can't be targeted by that element. So if you're in a mirror, like not a mirror, but in a mono deck, right? So your opponent's playing mono water, and you play that out, and you choose water, they can no longer target that forward with anything, summons or abilities. And then he gets larger for everybody who has the same job as him. And he also gets to add another job to himself. So usually what I do is like King or like Thief or something like that to match with the Zidane or the Leo from the LB. And that makes him very large. And I think in the second game of finals, I got him up to 13,000 power because Arc was out and I had enough Warriors of Light and a Job King.
There you go. And that's why I myself couldn't like calculate how big he was, but I'm
13,000 power.
13,000. Does he get double buffs from the wool?
No. He counts the forwards that have the same job.
Okay, but not the element. It's not like Sophie, right? It's not like Sophie.
It's not like Sophie.
No. Okay.
He only gets pumped by the
jobs.
same job.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the last question I have for you too is like, after playing all the decks you have, and you know, obviously you're still playing Bartz. What needs to change, or what are you worried about that's changing the meta? Like, to maybe ever get you off this list? Like, what needs to change more?
I wouldn't say I'm 100% locked into it. Like it always has to be that. It's just that it's the way the game itself works, in that we have to like get the invite, right? The invite is to first place only for Worlds. So I need to play a deck that has good matchups into most things. And so I cannot have like a 0% matchup. So we played at an LQ in Miami recently, and I was using Knights, right? So it was really good, made it all the way to finals, but I had to sit down in front of Warriors, which was a 0% matchup. It was the fastest 2-0 I ever got in my life. I think I scooped on like damage 1 because I had like no board, nothing. Like I had no forwards, no backups, like I just died. So having 0% matchups is something that you really can't do if you want to like make your way all the way through to the finals. So Refia kind of always ends up being the choice because it has some life into almost everything.
And if you had to, you know, shoot yourself in the leg here, what is, like, what do you do to counter Refia? Like, what is your, like, and I don't mean as a Refia player, I meant as a medical. Like, if I'm playing everything else, like, where are your pick, you know, trying to pick apart? Like, for example, like, water players are playing Porum to counter Yuna now, right? Obviously, we're always adding the EX, but, you know, the Lightning has that Lightning Emperor that taxes action abilities. We're playing Cecil now, right? Like, what cards like that can you tell people just, you know, to level the playing field here a little bit as an expert, you know?
I can't help you. No.
I won't help you.
I want another one. No, that's the hard part about that deck is I don't think there's a way that you can just clean counter it. Say like, hey, include this in your deck and you'll never have to worry about that Refia deck ever again. I actually don't think that exists. I think there are ways to play into it that will give you an advantage. So if you watch Ryan Chen's matchup where he played Water Lightning Monsters into Bartz deck. He played it very aggressively, and he always had removal for the Ferris and the Refia, so they could never do their effect, right? He was always able to be like, okay, kill Refia, you're not going to get to untap. So Refia becomes unfair when she untaps all your backups, draws you a card that's incredibly free, right? It's a CP positive play, right? And the same thing, Ferris like comes out, pings the whole board, so if you kill the Ferris in response, she never kills anybody. So if your Ferris and your Refia can't function, you have to find other ways to get past your opponent's field, and you don't have that giant CP positive thing happening every turn. So I think it's just changing the way you approach the matchup. So another big one is like, if you Kucha lane Refia before you go to combat, then Refia doesn't get to untap everything. You basically end the turn, right? Plays like that are really good, and trying to change your approach to the matchup might be more so the answer than having like a silver bullet. There's probably not one.
Got it. Well, Sergio, again, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Shout outs.
Yeah, of course. Emo Tempest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Emo Tempest, Andy Carmona, TCG Tacos, Ian, Gio, my number one disciple. Shout out to my wife for putting up with this. I'll be home soon. And
Literally.
yeah, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to all my Miami locals. These guys keep me humble because they beat me up every week at locals.
I beat you up last night.
Yeah.
And
Extra shout out to Emo Tempest for literally beating me halfway to death with a Refia mirror match so that I would learn my lesson going into today. So I wouldn't have been able to do it without that.
Kendall, you too, buddy.
Yeah, shout out to Kendall. My God, Kendall, what an incredible guy, and amazing to hang out with him. This
Texas local, runs his stores here. They run a clean shop here. Our food's here, I think. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you later. See you at Nats. See you at Worlds.